This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So, yeah. So last session we were discussing about how do we, write some pipeline, basically, right? And no, I am just, I'm just trying to, so set up a Jenkins file and I'm trying to run that. Okay, cool. It's fine. Well, let me go to so you just written the VPC and I'm going to take the same code, just going to the same code. And I'm actually going to go with, so you given on the use VPC side. So probably after that, so I think the flow we usually go with the front end side. So do you need to give any difference? Basically, I don't think so. Okay, so you just make this basically you just basically make this and you keep it. That's fine. The steps are quite same. So here all the things you need to do is just these steps only, and these steps are quite common, and we built up our automation in such a way that so it doesn't make much difference basically. Okay, and after that I want to put it to ALB, so I will just take this and I'll go to where is the ALB part, and if I give it over here, so this is also same. I don't think so any difference. You just give dev init dev apply, that's it. And here also front end dev init dev apply, you're done. And here also okay, so here also you will just give on the VPC side also init and apply. That's it. No difference at all. No difference at all. Okay, so that is where so that is where okay, so we want to go a little bit beyond basically. So we want to go with a little bit beyond what we call would like to go beyond, so the simple way of defining the Jenkins files. We just want to go beyond, and we want to talk about something that we can share the code across the different pipelines as well. I want to extend my code, and I want to extend so my code, and I want to make it everywhere. I don't want to duplicate my code in the code standards. In the very code standards we talked about, right? So keeping the code dry. Okay, dry versus wet code. Okay, so dry means don't repeat yourself. All right, so wet means basically write everything twice. Okay, I don't want to go with I don't want to go with so duplicating my effort. Basically I want to reduce my burden. So but how do I do that? How do I do that? So that's the so that's the quite important thing. All right, so how do I or how do I how do I deal with this? Okay, so that's where the next thing inside the Jenkins files extension which comes is shared libraries. Okay, so Jenkins shared libraries. Okay, yeah, takes you to the Jenkins documentation. So yesterday we were looking into some pipeline syntaxes. So there is also something called as extending with shared libraries. Now shared libraries is basically so a pipeline adopted for one or more projects in an organization. Common patterns are likely to emerge. Often okay, so it is useful to share the parts of pipelines between various projects to reduce the redundancies and keep the code dry. Keep the code dry. So that's what actually we are trying to go to the next basically. Okay, I want to keep my code dry. How do you keep your code dry, and how do you deal with that? right? So that's where the shared libraries is actually coming into picture. And in the shared libraries, you're going to create some, you are going to create one Git repository, and inside the Git repository, you're going to place the code structure like this, and you can refer this particular code, and you can use that. So the code structure like this. So majorly we'll go with directly with this, variables. Majorly you can go with this particular, VAS directory, and we'll keep this particular groovy dot, txt files, and sorry, not groovy.txt, groovy files dot groovy files, and those groovy files will be referred by your pipelines. Okay, how do you make that? So you have to go to your Jenkins global shared library, global shared libraries, and you have to add, and you have to tell that, hey, I am having this library, so stored in this particular Git location, and you do that, and you start referring the code. So here is how you can just refer your code inside your pipeline. Okay, let me show you a quite simple way of how do you do that. Okay, so let's start with that. So there is some Jenkins directory which we already, Jenkins Jenkins repository which we already created. We just kept one file for reference. Okay, here only I will just make my share library. So I will just go and create a new file, a new directory, and put it as VATs. Okay, I'm not making too complex this one. Actually, if you want to make too complex, you can go into a bit of classes or into the Jenkins. Okay, so you have to get into the classes, and inside the classes you can keep the groovy files. And I think at least on the majorly on the operation side, you don't really require to make that much complex. You can straightforward use the script files. So that's where I'm just giving that much only. VAS directory I'm creating, and inside that I'm actually going with a new file. I'll say that sample.groovy. Now the library becomes what is the library name now? Sample is one of the library. Sample is one of the library. And how do you deal with that? Okay, so how do you deal with that? So first of all, I need to write some pipeline, or I want to write some groovy code. And so how do you do that is so over here I just need to if you just go a bit down, you'll find out some examples basically, and you can deal with that. Quite simple examples only, you'll find it out if you just come a bit down. Yeah, so something like this, like let's say var logs.groovy. You just okay, so deal with this, and just put this. What you're actually defining, you're defining a function, defining info function, defining warning function. And what define is doing, it's trying to echo and just giving info and the message. The message is the information which you pass from the pipeline. So this is a sample simple groovy file. So now I am going to go with Jenkins file 2, I'll call it as, and I will say this is the pipeline, right? So pipeline agent is any stages is stages. And inside that I will go for steps, and inside that no, actually in the library file basically he's just trying to call it quite simple way only. Okay, like I think this also should work if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Okay, this is what actually I want to give. Might not be this is the steps you give it, but without a step stage blocks I doubt it. Let's see. Okay, but first of all you have to import your library. First of all you have to import your library. How do I import my library? So first of all I have to go to the Jenkins. Okay, and yeah, so Jenkins 1 is already there, right? So first of all, you have to declare your so static declare your shell library. So that's where manage Jenkins, and go to the global configure system. And so over here, you're going to give library somewhere. Yeah, global pipeline libraries. So here you have to add, and you have to say that your library name is like, let's say, we're actually creating it for RoboShop project or something like that. So I'm just giving the library name as RoboShop, and the default version is available in the main branch. Okay, and actually it is the code is available in modern SCM and is actually available in the Git repository. And where is my Git repository? So here it is, clone. There is the one, and you just use this, and doesn't require any kind of a credentials, and so you're fine. That's it. Just click on save. Okay, so yeah, now I would like to come to the new item, and I will say that it is Jenkins shared library demo, and it's a pipeline. Probably you can copy it from Jenkins 1 also. You can copy the job as is from Jenkins 1, and over here you just need to change only one thing. It's not Jenkins file 1, it's actually Jenkins file 2. So just click on save. Everything is remain same. And now when it comes to the pipeline, so what you have to do is you have to give a library. Okay, so how I actually how to give the library is actually you're just telling in the Jenkins file you have to write the library as like this. Okay, so you just give the library that way. And what is the library name you have given there? RoboShop. Okay, that's it. Now you understand the relation inside Jenkins. You're telling that, hey, I have shared libraries, and this library is actually inside this Git repository. You're telling, and you're referring that particular library inside your Jenkins file. Okay, now let's see. I push the code. Let's see how it behaves now. So it's a failure. I think I just gave that log messages in a wrong place. Okay, log.info. Yeah, it is something. I had to give something like so script. I think so. Steps is mandatory. And inside that script is something because I'm executing some Groovy code. So yeah, this is something I'm thinking to run. Yeah, log.class, you are not really having it. All right. So even script is not actually able to access this. Okay. So this can be accessed only before the pipeline basically. And print like, let's say hello, I can give here. Actually, if you see here, so I had to give it outside of the pipeline. Okay. So let's try this option now. Or forget about pipeline. You don't require the pipeline at all. So just give only this much. Yeah, log.class. So here, what is the class name you or what is the file name you created? Sample. The first of all, I had to fix that sample part. So I'll just give sample. I'm actually giving the wrong one. Okay, sample, right, is the one which are actually calling. Inside sample, you're actually having the function info. Okay, it's not log. So it's fine. Now you see this, you're getting hello here, and it is in the pipeline. So before running the pipeline itself, you'll get info starting, warning, nothing to do. And if I take them now, if I keep it inside here, so previously I was giving the wrong name. Now let's see. Yeah, it's working fine. And over here, you're going to have info starting and warning, nothing to do. Okay, right? So that's how so that is how so that is how we are going to start using the shared library, and you can call those particular things. All right, so this is how you can deal with that. Okay, and even it can be enhanced a bit more, and even your pipeline also completely moved into, okay, I think we are also using the same way he is actually trying to do. All right, so fine, inside the script you can access it. Cool. So I didn't observe that. So but actually, so even if we can move more, and even we can move the pipeline into the shared library. So that's the beauty actually. Okay, so that what I'm trying to tell you here is, even if you can see this, even you can move the declarative pipelines also here in there. So that means this whole pipeline, okay, you can go to the sample.groovy and you say this is the what. Okay, and you can just call it from here also. Just you give this library name, that's it. Okay, and that's all. And load library, and but actually this should be in some function. Okay, it should be in some side inside some function, so you have to declare some function here. Okay, makes sense. So I'm actually going here and I'm calling, like, let's say define like, let's say pipeline. So define pipeline empty, you don't expect any output, and inside that you actually this. Okay, so this whole pipeline you're actually trying to declare the pipeline. So define pipeline, and pipeline is a library word which I cannot use, which is like, let's say Terraform is something I'm just giving. Okay, so if I just take this, go to the Jenkins file, and I'll say that it is Terraform. Just give that particular function, call the function. Let's see. Now you see this, go to the 6, and ultimately that is doing, but it's not doing anything. It's a Terraform function, and in the Terraform function, define Terraform. So inside Terraform, it is supposed to run this. Why it is not running, and what is the example is telling you? Example is actually you're taking the library, which is fine, and you're calling the even rod, and our case actually it's empty value. I'm not actually taking any kind of thing, and inside that whatever it is there, it is supposed to run. Define Terraform. It is actually sample.terraform. Function is inside sample. It's actually sample.terraform. And so over here, let me go and run it once again. So it's not running really. So it's actually throwing an error saying that, so no such property for class sample. Sample.terraform is what we are giving here. And the sample you have inside that terraform function is what we have here. It should work ideally. Let's see, unless until I'm missing something. Yeah, so now also it is failing. So it is telling that Groovy lang missing property exception. No such property any for class sample. I'm just giving something like this, and probably here also something like nothing. I'm just trying to replicate the other parts. So here it is. Okay, let's see. No, it's also still in the same error. What am I missing? Okay, forget about the, so this pipeline. So which I want to say here is just like, let's say echo nothing dollar message. Okay, so I will just do this. Now what is the output? Like, let's see. Now it is working. Okay, so that means if I keep a pipeline inside that, it is not working, right? So that's what our observation. All right, fine. Now what is the documentation is also telling, but basically you can keep it to your pipeline, agent any, stages, steps, echo. Might be the script is the option, which is something not there. Let's see. Let's not come to any conclusions so far. The script is something actually I'm thinking as such. That's the only difference I see it. Yeah, I got the point actually. When you're actually declaring a pipeline inside that, okay, so what you have to do is you have to define that particular function as call only. You cannot do anything else much more. You cannot do you cannot actually do more actually. So now what you have to do is I have to go with the default call. Okay, when I'm declaring the pipeline, I have to go with the default call and say that, so the call, and also while it come here, so it have to just give, so sample, that's it. You don't need to really declare anything like this. Okay, only this much. Yeah, I missed that point actually. See this? Yeah. Now your pipeline becomes literally very simple one, isn't it? Okay, so you can just go and say that, I want to write a terraform.groovy file, new file, and I will say terraform.groovy file. Okay, over here, so I will say define call. Okay, and I will say action. Basically, I'm going to get action. So action, basically, I can take it a condition here, something like this, right? So if action is equal to if action is equal to if action is equal to what? Apply. Okay, like let's say if action is equal to apply, so then what I have to do here is it's a pipeline I want to run. Okay, so pipeline, and it's actually going to be agent is any, and the stages are actually going to be is stage is actually going to be is an apply stage, or basically an init stage. Okay, so you will say that steps sh and make space dev hyphen init. Make space dev hyphen apply. Okay, so this is what you have. If the action is given as apply, all right, so we want to do this. Okay, so now I will go to my Terraform and I will say to my here VPC, so to the Jenkins file. So I'm just going to remove everything like this here, and or even in fact we require these two variables also. You just take these two values. All right, so dev hyphen init, dev hyphen apply. Okay, so this is what you want to have. But the same pipeline, if I want to do it for my based on my environment also, then yeah, I have to handle this. Okay, we'll handle that. Okay, for now we have only the dev environment, so I'm just dealing with this. So previously, so we are actually dealing with Azure DevOps. Now we are actually writing the code related to the Jenkins, and I'm just dealing with the Jenkins. Okay, so init and apply are the two phases, which I'm keeping it here. So here's the one, and yeah, so let's go to the Jenkins file of Terraform VPC, and you just say this. Okay, and you go and say that Terraform, and what you're actually trying to do, I'm actually trying to do apply. Okay, so yeah, Terraform is equal to apply. So probably I can just do action is equal to apply. So action is the keyword, which are anyhow your terraform.groovy is actually referring. So that's where I'm just giving action is equal to groovy. Okay, so I'm stating it, and so I made these particular changes now. So let's go and apply this. And come back here and say, go back to here. So Terraform releases, and you go to the VPC and you just click on VPC, click on build now. What it is telling, nothing happened. So because that condition did not went through, Okay, so here terraform.groovy. So if else in Groovy, like let's say if else in Groovy I want to go with, I want to do some troubleshooting. So if the condition is getting failure, actually I want to go with else. Okay, so I would like to go with else, stating that echo hello to else, something like that. Okay, go back here. So VPC, just click on build now once again. So echo to hello to all. So that means whatever actually I'm trying to send the action is really not getting into the there. Basically action is equal to apply, and actually you're sending action is equal to apply, and from here Jenkins file you're actually sending action is equal to apply. Okay, action, where it is action. Okay, what could be the mistake I might be doing here? I had to tell what is the data type basically. So the data type actually has to be string. Okay, I think I'm not sure how to give a string actually here. You can find it out, so strings in Groovy function. Okay, so so you should be using, I think, a word called as string. So void main string. Yeah, so basically it's a string, is a keyword I'm supposed to use. So string is action which you are actually trying to bring. That is one thing I'm expecting, but let's see whether I might be right or wrong. Our run will tell us. No, still it is going to else. Here I think we have to just think about this Jenkins file. Let me send it as an apply only rather than action. Okay, cool. So this is fine, at least Terraform command not found. This is okay. So at least it started. Okay, so I think we're not supposed to give action is equal to something like that. Okay, all right. So Terraform apply and you're fine. So the next thing I want to handle even bit more, I want to deal with environment specific also. So then I am trying to give comma. So this is for dev environment. Okay, assume. So basically, or I need to ask the environment. It need to prompt for the it need to prompt me for the environment variable. Okay, so in that particular case, so what I can do is I can go to the terraform.groovy. So here it is tools terraform is terraform 14. Okay, you do with that. And also I would like to go with environment specific. Okay, so what is the environment specific I want to take is when you have jenkins.io, go to the documentation and go to the pipeline and the pipeline syntax, and you have something called as parameters, and in the parameters you have drop down choice. This is the one I want to take it. Okay, so parameters is the one. So choice, you can give the name is environment. First one is empty. I want to give it. So I want to give Dave. I want to give dot. So the first time it can be an empty basically. All right. And yeah, this is what you have. And so here you're going to pick up the environment. So let's see now how it behaves. I just push the changes now. Build now. This time it will not ask for the parameters. So this time also it will go to a failure. So okay. So the next thing which we have here is now you see this build with parameters. It's actually loading those parameters. All right. So that's how I would like to proceed. All right. So now you're actually dealing with the environment. So since it is an environment, so I can just go and give $. Okay. So all right. So this is fine, and I'm picking the environment. So based on the environment, it is supposed to run. All right. So this is okay. But let's see, Dave build. Yeah, it's failing with the variables. That's okay, because actually you're not taking any environment. So yeah. And AWS is equal to credentials of AWS. I'm not sure whether the credentials is credentials only. I can check it out from other Jenkins files. Credentials is AWS. Yeah. So you're actually giving the credentials also now. So just try to push this now. So your Jenkins file is quite same. It is not changing anything. In the backend only, you're actually trying to change your code. Okay, so that's the beauty basically, right? So you like every pipeline, you don't need to go and change. It's actually dealing with the backend shell library. Okay. So go to the VPC and build with parameters. Just choose its Dave build. All right. So this is how I don't know how my VPC is getting created every day. Two VPCs. Okay, releases. The VPC is getting triggered automatically if there is any code change. Yeah, makes sense. Edit. Let's say it's a auto continuous trigger is off. We're pushing the Jenkins file. This is running. Okay, that's fine. Anyhow, our Jenkins also ran it, and we're able to see it without any kind of any issues. Okay, so you see this. All right, this is what you are actually trying to get it. Same thing. I'm going to take my Jenkins file, just put this, and let's go to my front end Jenkins file. So just change it. You don't need to change anything at all here. Okay, so we just push this, and let's go to the PPC, build with parameter, not PPC anymore. So I want to, like, let's say, can I have a clone option? No, right? So click on new item, and I will say it's a front end. It's a pipeline, and copy it from VPC. Just click on OK as is. You can remove this project is parameterized option, and you can go for Terraform hyphen front end. Okay, so just click on save and click on build now. Now, for the first time, it's a failure. Why? Because it needs the variables to be loaded. Now you try to refresh. Now you get the build with parameters, and you say dev apply. But here it is a failing. So basically, it is expecting some artifact version, app artifact version. So app artifact version, how do you get that? So you need to deal with that basically. Okay, so app artifact version, I can give basically a star just to pull the latest version. So I would say, certain environment variables basically. But where do I specify that? I can go here. So state export df underscore var underscore is equal to star I'm giving. Okay, this is the one. So my front end is completed now. All right. So this is the front end, and now the same Jenkins file now goes and takes this and go to the ALB side, put it the Jenkins file. You just replace this, push this, and so because I'm trying to create jobs actually, right? So I'm creating the jobs, so I'm creating the job manually. So I'm the most laziest person. I don't want to, not laziest person, I would say, even again, I don't want to make myself burden basically. Okay. So that is where even the, job creation also I want to automate it through the code. Okay. So through the code, I want to automate everything. Okay. So that is where I would like to go and create some job, which is called a seed job. Let me delete everything. I don't want all these jobs. Let's clear all this. Let's make it fresh. Delete pipeline. Delete pipeline, delete project. All gone. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one job called a seed job. Okay. Seed is what you put a seed, you get a tree. Tree will have some branches, everything, right? So yeah, that's a seed, right? So I'm going to create some seed now. Okay. So seed job, and the seed job, I'm going to tell that, hey, I want these jobs to be created. Okay, so I'll just use the same Jenkins and I will just say new directory. It's actually, I'm going to call it a seed, and inside the seed I'm going to create a new file, so like let's say terraform dot groovy file. Okay, so this is the one I want to say, like all jobs dot groovy, like all jobs, right? So all jobs I'm going to put it one place, or terraform related things I'll just keep it in terraform side. I have to I have to put some code there. Okay, so Jenkins job DSL. Okay, so Jenkins job DSL, if you go there and if you actually go to Jenkins job DSL of GitHub pages, now you will find out all the related jobs. So what is the job you want to create? It's you want to create a pipeline job, isn't it? So if you want to create a pipeline job, so here it is, a job is the one which to create a pipeline job, or you have a pipeline job here. So just open that, just give a pipeline job. So you just kind of have something here and you put it there. So now the job of, so example will be created automatically. But how do I do that? So I have to tell here, go to the manage Jenkins, and I want to install a plugin basically. Which you're going to call it as Seed Jenkins. Okay, so you need to install this. So this is one plugin, and also I would like to go with authorize project. So this is another plugin. So these are the two plugins which are needed to run our seed jobs. I will just go and run this. Seed job and authorize project are the two jobs which are needed. Okay, cool. So now I'll go to create a job, and I would say this is a seed job. Let's say this is a seed, and it's a freestyle job. I will say click on OK, and you're going to have a Git repository. So the code should be coming from a Git repository, and which is here. The Git repository is coming from, and it's actually a main branch, master. So here you're going to do the process job DSL. Okay, this is the new option which you came with because of the seed job. Okay, now actually you have to look in the file system, of course. So it's actually seed slash terraform dot Groovy file. Just load all these particular jobs. Okay, so click on build now. It actually fails with authorization, so stating that so the script is not approved for use. So what I had to do is I had to go to the manage Jenkins. You added other authorized plugin also, right? So go to the global, not here, global security. Go to the global security and stay there and say like access control for builds. So project default authorization actually run as a user who triggered the build. So this option I had to choose. So you're telling that so you're running some kind of some backend code to create some jobs. I am saying that you are allowed to do that. By default, it is actually disabled to run certain Groovy code by the Jenkins job. Now actually I'm enabling that particular option. Okay, this option is mandatory. So if you do this, okay. Now if you go to the dashboard, actually, in fact, talking about if you go to the manage Jenkins, actually your script, whatever you have ran, it came for approval. It came for approval. Now, what is that authorized project actually, which you are going to do is actually going to auto authorize. Okay, so build now. Now, what is the error? Could be some issue with the stuff. Okay. Yeah, so that's okay. So this is the code issue. So I made it. This is the code issue. Okay. I had to keep the proper code for my pipeline job. Okay, so I had to read it, so try out different options and do that from pipeline syntax. Where is this? Job DSL. Either I had to do that, so or else I can go and try to, or else I can go and try to get it from my previous batches and I can do it. Okay, so it's quite simple. It's template only. It never changes all the time. So just go with the previous ones once. Go to the repos. Where is my seed jobs? So what actually I'm trying to do here, so I'm saying that, so this is CD jobs, deployment jobs. All we just already created Terraform hyphen releases. Okay, so Terraform releases. Slash VPC. And so what is your Git repository? So you have to give that Git repository. So it's actually going to be, V53, and it's Terraform hyphen VPC. That's the main branch, and the file is Jenkins. That's it. You don't have to give anything at all. It's done. So you're telling this is your Git repository, and this is the main branch and the Jenkins file. That's it. So whatever you give on the UI, you're going to convert that as a code, and you're making it here. Now I go back to the Jenkins and just ask like seed, hey, can you run? Yeah, so it generated Terraform directory and VPC file. Inside that, it goes in, the Terraform releases are there, and VPC is also there. So you just go and click on build now. It will fail for the first time because you require some parameters. Yeah. Cool. So VPC is created, right, ran here, and you got the out, right? So the same thing. Previously you're doing it. And so now I want another job. So what I'll do is I'll simply copy this code and put it like this one. So, and I will say it as a front end. And here also you're going to say it as front end. That's it. So you have to create a new job. So that comes from seed. Just click on build now. Now in Jenkins, everything is a code now for you, right? So job creation, job is the one, and again job is the one, and again okay. So the shared library is also in the back. For the first time, this front end will fail because it need a parameter. Only for the first time, if it runs, only it will load the parameters. Then only you can get the build with parameters. Okay, so you got the front end part done, and now you need to go with the ALB part. So I will say it is ALB is actually going to be is ALB. Okay, your job is going to get created. Yes, it's done. But now, did I change to ALB? Yeah. So now this is also working fine, right? So now your job creation is automated. Job creation is automated, and your pipelines jobs are almost, writing the code, and even you're using the share libraries and making your life really easy there. Okay, so and you're moving on, right? So this is how you can just keep, your pipelines. Okay, so ready for everything, right? So probably we can just go with. Probably we can just go with the other one, which is this. Okay, ALB, and after ALB, so what all the different things which are having. Let me go to pipelines, releases, new create, edit, front end ALB, and also in parallel you can write some databases. Okay, or you require databases. The next one is databases. Okay, so databases. Okay, after that, so our actual things, applications like, cart, catalog, cart catalog, and user, payment, shipping, Okay, so these are the different C jobs and different jobs which I want. Now I will just go with seed, build now, and here you're going to get all the jobs basically, right? You can just start one by one running one by one, one by one, one by one. You're going to run them. Okay, all right. So the next one is databases. Let's go and run the databases. Build now. First time it fails. Oh, sorry, it's failed, right? I need to re-trigger it. Okay, this error is different. I think we are giving Jenkins file not found in databases. So previously, we are actually trying to use, so a Jenkins, sorry, not Jenkins, Azure DevOps agent or as my workstation to connect to the database and load the schema. So now I think I can just use this machine only. Okay. So why? Because this machine is also adjacent to my workstation. It also can work as an agent basically. So that's where I'm just giving install MySQL so that it will just install the MySQL agent. Yeah. So likewise, the remaining pieces anyhow. So we just need to just run them, and yeah. So we need to just make it fine. But tomorrow we'll just okay. So today I have to just close it a little bit early. But tomorrow what we're going to do is, so we'll try to visualize the same thing, right? So the pipeline, however we have made it here, the same way we are going to make it in my Jenkins view also. So certain parallel jobs, my ALB and database should run in parallel. All these components should run in parallel. Okay. So how do I make them, running in parallel? Like how do I make it? So we'll try to look in some parallel steps, some sequential steps, like what's happening really. So we'll try to take a look in tomorrow's session, and yeah. So we'll just proceed from there. Okay. So yeah, any questions? All right. So we'll try to see in tomorrow's session, and we'll continue from there. Okay. Sorry for closing it early. Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good night.